Hi everyone, I'm just getting myself all set up here for tonight's class. Just using that so that my image is not, looks like I'm live. Just gonna, mute my screen here. Not copied over, okay. All right, 5 o'clock. Ignore the glare over here in the corner. Okay, where is my edges here? Camera in a different setup tonight. I don't know if I like it. Might just move this over a bit. Oh, now we're sideways a little bit. Hi, Lynn. Just getting myself all organized here. Hello, Kim. Hope everyone's having a good Monday. I'm gonna just give it a minute here. It's just my usual green screen of weirdness. Gonna ignore like I usually do. I'm gonna give it a minute here and then we'll go over what we're doing tonight. It's a fairly simple card using our Kraftin Kimmie stash, which is great. So we're gonna be using A Dog's Life and the PawPrint 2 stencil, some of our inks, and we're making just a funky little card that's just A2, but has a little bit of something special with it too. Everyone can hear me okay? My video did sound like it had sound when I checked it. We need to do like testing 1, 2, 3. No, I can press unmute too for a second to make sure. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go step by step. We have a few different steps for our card. Okay, thanks, Lynn. So I'll try and keep our supply list close by, or I do have also a little guide for how to cut the panel. So what you're gonna want, we'll just start bringing up my supply list here. You'll want a card base that measures A2, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just your standard. No worries, Kim, thanks for letting me know too. And you want to make sure it's a top fold card. I'm just using this indigo card stock because of the colors I chose for my card. I also brought in just a bright green, and I cut it to just a little bit shorter than the 5 1/4 by, sorry, I'll grab my ruler that tells me the dimensions. I'm always bad at that. I just cut it to 1/16 smaller on each edge. Thank you. Yeah, I realized my colors, because I just picked a random color combo online, and I wanted to make sure I used Tranquil Teal tonight. So I was looking at that and I got all my colors together and I looked at it and went, oh, that's very similar to the colors I chose last time I did a live. But that's okay. It could be like matchy. That's fine. So you'll just want to cut 2 of those out, and then you're going to cut a piece of whatever you use for ink blending. I tend to use Bristol Smooth, and I choose the Vellum Bristol Smooth, and we're going to use that to ink our stencil, and I'll grab our ink colors that we're going to be using tonight. So Designer Denim, Tranquil Teal, Creamy Caramel I used for my image, Goblin Green, nope. Actually, I'm going to use Goblin Green, but it was supposed to be Charming Chartreuse, but since I have it out, I'll use that one. And Incredible Indigo. So that was the color combo I found last night when I was looking at color combos for what to use with Tranquil Teal, since that's our ink of the month. I wanted to make sure I use that. I will go through our Copic list when we get to coloring, but the first thing we're going to need to do is cut our panel, and then we'll do our stenciling, and I'm going to use some sparkle paste over top of it, so I need to let that dry. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll get to coloring. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Keep an eye on the chat. So this panel that I cut down is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to bring in a little template I made. Now, to be totally transparent, this was a Stampin' Up! Card that I found online. So I just used her dimensions. Sorry, my wibbly wobbly lines. Not very good with a ruler sometimes when I'm just drawing a line. But you're going to want that. You're going to want to bring in a ruler and a pencil. So grab that first. What I'm going to do is, because I'm going to be using sparkle paste over top of my stenciling, I'm going to actually cut this panel first, and it'll explain why when we're doing it better after. But also because my trimmer doesn't like the sparkle paste, I'm going to cut this first. So I'm just going to grab my ruler. What did I do with it? I like my silver one better than the clear one. It's easier to see. But what did I do with it? I had everything in a tray here, and I still didn't. Well, it's gonna work. So if you're not going to be using any paste, you could always ink your panel first and then do your, do the cutting. But it's a fairly simple template. What you're going to do is you're going to measure from the left side here. You're going to measure 1/2 inch and put a little mark. It doesn't have to be precise. And then from that 1/2 inch, you're just going to go to 1/4. So I just moved my ruler down to my mark, just because I'm really bad at figuring out where 1/4 is. Rulers and me don't always get along. But you just want a little bit of space from this mark and that mark. Okay, and then on our right side, you're going to measure 3 inches from the top. I'm left-handed, so I tend to turn my rulers a weird way sometimes too. But I just line up the 3 inch from the top, and then I mark to where that 3 inch mark is. Okay. Hello, Carla. Hello, Danielle. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. I've had quite a lazy one this morning, but I needed it. And thank you for everyone. Oh, are you the same? Yeah, I kind of have to just kind of play with whatever the easiest way for me to mark, but that's kind of why my line went a little wobbly here, is I'm left-handed and I find it hard sometimes using rulers, but I make do. Then you're going to want to go from the bottom corner, you need to go 3 inches across and put a mark there. Then we're going to line our top dot to this line. And you can just put a very light mark. That's when you guys see that I can't draw very well. You don't have to put a mark if you're very good at lining up your marks in your trimmer. But just to make it show it a little bit better, we're going to go like that. So top, the 1/2 inch mark up here to the 3 inch mark over here. And then I'm going to take that 1/4 inch, that's just, I guess it's 1 3/4. It'd be 3/4. See, me and rulers, you know. It's funny because we're all trained in Canada to do inches, because everyone does inches, even though we're also taught to do centimeters, but I still get confused sometimes. And I'm just taking this 3 inch mark and doing it to that one. Again, they don't have to be perfect. Hey, that's a pretty straight line for me. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut from here to here and here to here. And we're going to have 3 pieces. So we're going to have 1 piece here, which is going to be our paw print panel up here. And in this center, I'm going to actually, once it's cut, I'm going to actually just ink it all with Tranquil Teal. Okay. Everyone getting where I'm going so far? And again, you could just decide, I want to use pattern paper, I don't want to do inking, but I want to use our PawPrint Stencil, so that's why I'm going to do this. I'll leave this out in case somebody is following along and wants to keep an eye on my dimensions. And again, you can ink the whole panel first and then do your cutting, but I'm going to do this first. Just because some other people have arrived since I said what I'm doing. I'm just going to cut my panel before I ink it. I normally wouldn't, but because I'm going to be using some sparkle paste, I want to kind of, my trimmer doesn't like the sparkle paste. So there's this section up here. Again, that one will ink. And then I'm just, oh, sorry, I just realized I'm off the screen. So I'm just lining my marks up in my trimmer. There. Okay, so we're going to ink this one up in Tranquil Teal. And we're going to ink up these ones with our PawPrint Stencil. So I'm just going to move my trimmer out of the way. And I'm going to pull out my Tranquil Teal. And that's going to go in the middle here. Or you could just use some cardstock if you want to make it quicker. But I wanted to use our ink tonight. So pull out my Tranquil Teal, a sponge, and a blending tool. Just making sure I'm on screen still. Just gonna give this a quick ink. Oh, probably should erase your pencil lines first. I didn't. That's okay. I can hide it with some stuff if it shows up. Oh, right. Tonight, Dog's Life is on sale. Thank you, Kim, for putting the link there. Has 2 cute girls that you can use to make some cards for your friends or loved ones. I'm gonna actually, before I get too far, I am actually gonna erase that mark down here. And no, she'll probably cover most of it anyway. So, wouldn't be alive with us if we didn't make a little bit of an error first. The reason why you want to erase that before you ink is, luckily I made it pretty light, so it's not going to show up that bad. Is obviously the ink's going to trap it in your underneath. This color is so pretty. It's actually my most recent purchase. So it's nice to have like a nice teal-y turquoise color. So that, like I said, is going to go right here. You could always just use this if you made a little template like I did, but I'm just going to show you on my cardstock where I'm going to put it. But I'll just leave it there so people can see. And then I'm going to pull in my gel plate, or if you have a sticky grid or something else, just you want to put it, and I'm going to erase my marks on my card first. Make sure I have the right ones. It'll probably be hidden mostly with my stenciling anyway, but yeah. All right, I use my gel plate a lot for inking on. Not in the way you're supposed to use it, but it holds down my paper, holds down the stencil, and it makes it so much easier for me to ink on. So you could even put this, because it's a see-through, if you're really worried about lining up your stenciling perfectly, could put that through there. Oops. Sorry again, I'm just off, a little off from where I normally put my phone for these lives, so I gotta remember where my live is. You could do that so you can figure out exactly where you are. I'm not super concerned about it, but I am gonna pull in my PawPrint 2 stencil now. Oh, hi Jennifer, I didn't see you pop in there. And, oops, I'm gonna make sure this is going up a little bit higher. There we go. As long as your stencil is bigger than your inked panel, it'll hold down it for the most part. I'm mean, I gotta use the gel plate for something. I'm really bad at just having supplies. I'm like, oh, I had to buy that and then never use it. So, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to choose to just like randomly dab the colors in. Oh, sorry, just a second. I just need to grab some more sponges here. One of my goals for next week when I'm, hi Ellie, when I'm off. Yeah, I did need it. Thank you, Jennifer. One of my goals for when I'm off next week is to like get all my daubers sorted out so I not keep grabbing new ones all the time and such a waste of, oh, that one doesn't even have a felt on it. Good job. Okay. So I'm going to start with my Goblin Green, and I'm just going to randomly put colors on here. These colors will all go together pretty well, so just dab it in. And I usually do like at least 3 spots before I change my color. And since I have the Tranquil Teal out, I'm just going to add that in. And I'm just going to make sure they overlap a little bit because I kind of like when it blends together. That's 1, 2, 3. I really wish I knew where all my blender... My crafting's a little disorganized, but that's okay. Now I'm gonna go to, I think I might actually not do designer denim after I said I was gonna pull that out. Just because it could be a lot of blue on here. I'm going into Incredible Indigo. Just adding that in. Like I said, overlapping my color a little bit's fine. I have to add more Goblin Green in. I chose the Incredible Indigo because it matched my cardstock. Okay, and now usually I go to my lightest color last just to make sure that I'm adding that in. You could add the creamy caramel in, but because it's got a bit of a brown base, it might make it a little muddy. So I'm just adding that in. Wanted this to be pretty quick. Okay, so the gel plates, I mean, it's okay if you put stuff on it. Just wipe it off really fast after. So I'm going to take in my texture paste now. And this one has sparkle, it's clear. So once it dries, it'll be clear, but it'll add a little bit of gloss and sparkle to my panel. Everyone have a good weekend, good Mother's Day. I went over and mowed my mom's lawn for Mother's Day. That's what she wanted for Mother's Day. And I said, sure. Could have done that last week when I was over, but okay. So, spent yesterday mowing her lawn, and she hates doing it, so. And because she's getting at that point where she doesn't really need anything, or she'll buy whatever she's interested in. I just thought, okay, try that. So yes, I am going to get some of this paste on my gel plate. If you're really concerned about that, you could remove it, but I'm afraid that if I moved it, I'm not going to get the sparkle paste where I want it. So you probably shouldn't be doing this on a gel plate like this, but I'm breaking the rules. Again, you can clean up the gel plate and just wash it off, which I'll probably just go do quickly. One of these days I will have a container in front of me so that I'm just to shove that in the water instead of having to run to the sink and do this. But just making sure I'm getting the sparkle paste on all my edges. I'm going to pull that up. And once it dries, these will look more... Oh, good. I saw your photo of your 3 girls. I don't think I've seen your oldest daughter. Did she have her baby? Or is she still waiting on that? Sorry. Distraction noodle. I'm just going to go throw this into the sink. And then I'm going to wipe down my gel plate. And I need better. Need an assistant is what I need. Be right back. All right. Oh, she's not due for a while. I thought she was due the same time as Kim's girl. That'll be exciting for you, though. Hope everything goes well. She's due July 31st. We have a lot of July babies in our family, so. Okay, so I'm just carefully pulling these off, and I'm gonna put them on the side. And once they dry, they're gonna be less opaque and more just shiny with the gel paste. I missed a spot, but that's okay. That could be where the sentiment goes. But I'll add sparkle and shine. And then I'm just gonna quickly wipe this off. One nice thing is, at least with the gel plate, it does come off pretty easily. Okay. So we're going to let that dry, and then once that's dry, we'll add it to our panel. But I knew that was going to take some time to dry. But I like the look of it, so I think it's worth it to add a little bit of sparkle. That's okay, I'll wash it off better after. All right, so I'm gonna pull in the stamp. So again, it's on sale. Kim just put it on sale for us. And I've already cut her out with my silhouette beforehand because I hate fussy cutting. Yes, I saw your photos too, Kim. Sorry I didn't comment on anybody's stuff. I'm a little bit behind on saying, you know, commenting on people's posts, so. All right. Sorry, I just want to close my texture paste here. I'm going to move my camera at a slight angle, and I just should clean up some of this chaos. Move my inks over for now, so I decide what sentiment I want. Oh, there's my, yeah, okay. I'm just using a sticky grid to keep my image down. And I'm going to try and move my camera at an angle so that hopefully move my image at a little bit of an angle too. I stamped it in creamy caramel. I wanted kind of a summery, sunshiny, bronzy look, and I'll try and keep my colors in the corner, but I did actually plan ahead and wrote down the colors I'm using too. So maybe instead of having the stamp here, just put my color list here. Oh good, that all fits in. Of course, until I zoom in. For my skin tone, I'm going for like like I said, a summery kind of look. So I am going to do, I wonder if I zoom in a little bit. Oop, too far. I think the key to zooming in with Facebook is not to actually look at what you're doing, because when I don't look at it, I can zoom in and out better. Okay, move this down, since we just need the kind of the, there we go. All right, so I want to stamp her out in creamy caramel for this look if you're following along with me. Again, if that's something you feel uncomfortable with, you could always stamp her in Wicked Black or a different color. But because I'm going for a bronzy look, I'll put it over there. I'm going to start with my E00, so E000, just adding a base layer. I had to look at the marker for a second, it looked darker than E00. E000. Too many zeros. Hi, Marianne. I'll show you what we're doing after I'm done coloring here. I have to let my project dry a little bit, or you can catch the replay, but since I'm going to be coming back to it after I'm done coloring, hopefully it'll be dry then, I'll show you what I did. So I usually go, now normally I kind of bounce back and forth when I'm coloring. Oh, sorry, Jennifer. I didn't see your message there. That's what I had to do on Father's Day, so I understand it's hard, especially the first one. Not saying I try and think of some good memories I have, and that seems to help. It has been a couple years now without my dad, so I have a little bit of time. Yeah. So I'm just jumping to my next marker, which is E11, and I'm just figuring out where I want to put my shadows. So, because I always forget the ear, I colored that first. And then my shadows are going to come from the left here, just because she's facing that way. Or I guess the sun's facing the left. Sun's up here in the corner facing down. Oh, and I gotta take off my lids because I just refilled some of my markers. I finally refilled some of my markers. I like to put a little cheek, so I do a little semi-C there on both ends. Just give it a little bit of a rounded appearance. Sorry it's not zoomed in. I'm gonna draw a little bit of a half circle from her nose to the corner here, and that's gonna give her a little bit of an eyelid. And then over here, same thing. I drew in a little bit of an eyelid over there too. Oh, good. Good. That sounds like you had a good day then. I mowed my mom's lawn. We had Chinese food, and then she's like, I'm tired. I'm going home. Like, okay. She's still recovering from her bladder stones. So, or not bladder stones, sorry, kidney stones. So, I don't want to push her too much. She is feeling a lot better, but she's still dealing with that. So I'm just going over here to the hairline and adding my darken. Let me know if anybody wants me to zoom in. But I'm just basically following my lines I just made. Yeah, thanks. This is her third time with the kidney stones, so we're becoming pros at it. I just wish they could figure out why it keeps happening. Well, I know why it's happening. She's not eating properly, but I can't talk. So, last time she had them, she stopped drinking Coke. And I was like, well, maybe that'll help. But yeah, some of us are just more prone to it too, it seems. So I'm just going in with my E15. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. I know you're not. Is it you who doesn't really do no lines? I never, you know, it's funny because I did Wicked Black on a project recently and I didn't like it. I was like, it's too stark. And it's funny because I never used to like no lines. I always thought, oh, that looks kind of silly to me. but I now do it more often than not. So I almost think it's too dark if I don't. So going to E13 and I'm just blending that out. She's looking really dark right now. So I'm just trying to be very careful here, not to overdo it. You see? Yeah, we're opposite that way, Jennifer. Because I hate fussy cutting with a fashion. So I'll figure out any other way. I used to hire my cousin to do it for me. I used to make cards for a craft show. I'm like, I will do this if you can cut out these images for me. And she liked doing it, so she was fine with that. It worked out well for us. Again, looks really dark right now, but once you blend it out, it'll look a lot better. Alright, and then I'm going to my E00 and I'm going to start blending that. Sorry, I'm going to put that on the 4 so it's not casting too much of a shadow. And I'm just going to start blending it in. She's also going to look a lot darker right now because we don't have any other color added to her anywhere else. So it'll lighten up once we add more colors to it too. So I'm gonna probably add a second layer up here, but I usually don't do that right away. I kind of let the ink settle in first to the paper. And by the way, I use Nina 110 for my coloring. Sometimes I'll do 130 even. I know that seems kind of thick, but I like that I can add a lot of layers. So just going up her arm on either side here. Set her. As you see, it kind of bounced back and forth. So that was E15. I forgot to put the lid down, sorry. E13. Just blend that out a bit. I figure she's walking around in the summer as a dog walker. So she's getting a lot of sun. That's what I wish I could be doing right now. Still want a dog, but I'm not home enough. I love my kitty though. She does help. But I miss walking a dog, and although people say you wouldn't miss it in the winter, no I don't in the winter. Or when it's raining quite a bit out. So what critters does everyone have? I know Kim has her chihuahuas. And I know Carla doesn't have any. I have a black and white kitty. I used to have a Havanese dog, which is kind of like a Bichon Frise. Well, sort of. More like a Maltese. A little bit bigger than one. I think I'm going to come back after I do her legs and do her face again. Just because, again, I added a lot of ink to that. Oh, right, and you have Leo. Yeah, Leo's cute. He's 5 months now. Wow, that went by fast. I feel like you just adopted him. Oops. E00. So I just, like I said, I put a coat down. You probably should just do one area at a time and get a little impatient when I'm doing this on camera. I find. But I like how the creamy caramel. Oh, I didn't know they were Shih Tzu Maltese. I knew you had dogs. I didn't realize they're little guys like I had. Oh, he's so cute. Does he want to eat you out of house and home? I love labs, and I always say, you know, if the lab's not eating, then, you know, there's something wrong, so. So I'm just going down either side of her leg, making sure I'm hitting underneath her skirt here. She has a little bit of a knees showing, so I tend to pop a little shadow underneath there. Oops, it went a little dark there. That's okay. That's why you go with your medium one first. Then I'm going to go to my E15. Yeah, I luckily get my puppy fixed from work, but still I miss having one. He wasn't quite this small. This dog's a little tiny thing. It's maybe even a little too small for me. Yeah. Oh, good. So you know what to be careful about. Yeah. I once had a lab come into my clinic. He had eaten, or she had eaten 28 chocolate cupcakes. And I was panicking because I was like, we gotta make her puke. I'm gonna get that out of her. And I gave her the drugs to make her puke. Nothing. Didn't even phase her. She went home because I was like, what else can I do? I can't make her puke anymore. Like, I can't give her any more drugs. I just monitor, and if she gets worse, go to emerge. She was fine. Didn't even phase her. I'm like, oh yeah, no, she's at the dog park the next day. I'm going, oh, okay. So did she ever vomit? Sorry, I know it's probably not fun conversation for me to talk about, but it's part of my job. Did she ever vomit that up? And they said, nope. Okay. Again, she's been fine, so. Sorry, I'm kind of speeding that along. Just blending this out like I did with the face. You'd always make these leggings too if you wanted. If you thought this was too short of a skirt for her or something. Yeah. I forget sometimes. I have no filter when it comes to animals. Human stuff, I'm very cautious about what I say. Animal conversations, I kind of forget. So sorry if I grossed anyone out. I'm going to go back up to her face, but I'm not going to go right to E15 because I already added quite a lot of dark here. I just want to blend this out a little bit. So I'm just going to my E13, adding just a little bit more shadow in. Just very sparingly. Just her cheek over there. But by not going in with my E15, I'm not going to make her skin hopefully too long. I'm probably Carla. Both my mom and if she's feeling up to it, and my cousin want to go. So we'll probably end up coming in on Friday, or going on Friday, I think. Still plan, because I think my cousin works on Saturday. I'm actually off next week, so that works out well. I'm not going to come do the crop, but I'll come shop. So I'll see you there. I won't be able to shop too much. Got some news from work that means things are changing for me in the next... the air quality is better today. I don't know about Calgary, but there's hardly any... Oh, sorry, just reading all the things here. Yeah, you work at a medical clinic, so you get it too. Yeah. You forget, so you just get so used to medical conversations that you forget sometimes. My mom says it was horrible whenever we'd have family meals with my Nana and Papa, because my Nana was a nurse, my Papa was a fireman, and then there's me as a vet tech, and three of us could just talk about things and like nothing even happened, and she'd be sitting there as a banker going, why do I need to know all this information? Sorry, I just noticed that I'm very pale down here. So I'm going to add more up there too. I kind of just go back and forth. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over the place here. What was the other one? Oh yeah, sorry. Again, my brain goes multiple different places. The air quality is a lot better. The smoke was horrible on, was that Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday. I went to go get some groceries, and because I don't drive, I just had to go quickly in the morning, first thing. And by the time I got home, I was like, I feel so lightheaded and dizzy. And then when I was mowing my mom's lawn yesterday, it wasn't that bad. It was still smoky though. I'm going to do her hair next. And the colors I chose for that, I'm going to do her hair and the dog the same color. How's it in Calgary, Carla? And Jennifer, you're in Ontario? Right? Much better, yeah. Okay, good. Does anyone live in BC? Because that's where it was coming from. I wonder how horrible it was there. So for the hair, I chose E21, E13, YR24, which is actually YR13 because I grabbed the red marker, and E99. So I'm just going in and kind of mapping out where I want my shadows. So she's got her bun here. This could be a shadow down here. And I'm just doing that with my lightest colors to kind of figure out where I want my shadows. There's going to be a lot down here. There's going to be quite a bit in here. Around her head and face. And I'm not always the best at that either. I just kind of do what feels right to me. And I think it looks good and doesn't really matter. And then I'm just putting little stripes kind of in her hair up here. So it's so small you can't hardly see it. Oh, okay. Is that where the fires were? Yeah. And then I'm going to my darkest color, which is my E99. Pulling that in and just kind of going to start adding little tiny strokes. Starting here, just kind of coming where the artist drew, where Emily drew her lines. And then around the ear. The head. Kind of where that bun is. And I will just add little strokes from the ear so it doesn't look like it's just floating into space there. Down here where the hair's really bunched up, and make sure there's lots of dark there. Same with the back of the head, or back of the hair. So a little bit of a line here. Sorry, I'm not very good at explaining how I color things. Hopefully you guys can see where I'm putting it. Then around her neck. There should be some over here too. And this is kind of adding my shadows in more than anything. Usually add my texture in more with the second round. I'll just draw another line up there. If there's any places where I think, like this piece is sitting kind of in front, so I'm making sure that's a big cast shadow there. And then I'm just going to draw some little lines up here. And we'll blend that out a little bit. I usually try to leave kind of like there's a little streak here. I might leave that a lighter color. And then I go to my next one, which my list says YR24. Here. Yeah, it's YR14. And it's kind of making like a sunny orangey blonde, caramelly blonde. And I'm just following kind of exactly where I went before. Ear, up from the ear. Sorry, I know that watching people color sometimes is interesting, but also a little bit slow. Actually, my E13 might be a little bit darker than, again, I pulled the wrong marker out. So that's okay, I'll pull out that one back in after. I want to try and leave these tips here the lightest. So just going over here again, just add a little bit more dark. And then I'm going to go into my lightest. It's kind of where I just add I'm very bad at leaving my strokes because I tend to overcolor hair. But as long as you have the dark one in, you can usually bake it. I find. Overblend sometimes. But I think she looks pretty still. Alright, and then if I feel like there's any spots, I need the E99. That's where I might add my strokes back in. Oops, sorry. I put my lid back on. It's going to come around down here, darken that up. And then I'm just adding strokes up. And now, sorry, hope I don't make you guys too dizzy, but thank you, Danielle. Realized I picked this image and I went, oh, this one's a little bit out of my comfort zone lately. I don't think I've colored much hair recently. I used to do it all the time, and now those for images or critters. They're a little bit more simple. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate you too. Appreciate everyone. I'll get back to the cards shortly here, but at least it's giving us some time to let it dry. So I'm just going back in for a second layer. And then I'll color a little chihuahua. I kept that pretty simple because he's so tiny. Okay, so now I'm going to take my E21 and I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to coat the whole chihuahua. He's very small, so you may want to go, that's it, I'm good. Then add E13 in too. Just add a little bit of shading. Kind of in his ears. Sorry, I know it's hard to see he's so small. Under his face a little bit. Around his collar, so it has a shadow from the collar. A little bit up the side of the boot there. You see? Yeah, okay. Looks like you can see. And on the other side of the boot. A little bit up his chest. And then I'll blend it out again. I'm not going to do all 4 colors there. You could. But he's so small, I don't think he needs it. Just want him to be a little bit of a blonde chihuahua. Could be a min pin too, I guess. I like min pins. And I'm starting to like chihuahuas. No offense, Kim. They just weren't my favorite back in the day, but they're starting to be really a lot better now. Behaved recently. I missed the inside of her mouth there, which I usually go with my second lightest color. So I'm going to do E11, just to do the inside of the cheek. Okay, and then I'm going to do her outfit. And what I did on mine, put her in, is I did kind of an ombre from dark to light. I might actually do the opposite. I might go dark to light so that the teal that I used for the watercolor shows up a little bit better. So it'll make more sense once I just color it for you. Alright, so for my, oops, my pencil's in the way. For my outfits, I'm going to do a coat of YG00. And I just, like the face, I kind of just do the whole thing. You could totally, there's enough room on this image, you could totally do a design. I did a little bit of a diamond powder on the bottom of mine, which if I tilt it in the light, you might be able to see it a little bit better. So let's see if I can. You see? There, you kind of see It's got shimmery watercolor on it, so it's just got kind of like a little diamond pattern. It's hard to see though with bright lights. You could totally do like dots, or you could do, oh sorry, I'm going to do it up here too. You could do whatever pattern you want, or you could just leave it as a, you know, couple colors. I'm going to go to my darkest now, and I'm going to start at the top here. And I am just going to add it into her arms. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. And then around her neck. Down the side here. I'll leave a little bit of space there. And I'm going to probably come down to here. What's this color? So this is my darkest, so I'm just going to, of course now this is opposite of what I did before, so I should have probably planned that before I went live. I'm going to leave it like that, and then I can add the dark in after I go to my next color if I need to. And I'm going to take my YG07, and I'm just going to add that in exactly where we colored. Add a little bit of a actually, I'm just going to color that all in. Sorry guys, should have done this before I went live, as plan where I was going to put these. So I drew it down here with the YG07. Then I'm going to take my YG03. I'm going to start blending that out. I'm going to take my YG07 now. I don't want to go with the darkest. I kind of like my other one better. That's okay though. And I'm just going to add a bit of shading. Come around there. Probably have to add my darkest in just to make this blend work better. I did have to go over it a few times to make it look seamless on the other one. Okay. So I do want to bring my YG07 down. It's about here. Just add a little bit of shading. And then I do need to add a little bit more dark up here. Just add streaks. That was the problem. I added streaks last time. There, that's looking better already. I bring my YG03 in. And I'm going to add streaks down to there. Blend better. And my YG00. Streak that up. Now I'm going to have to add in the dark color a little bit more. I'm actually going to add this as my shadow up here. And maybe just do from her waist, kind of blend that down. So it looks slightly different than my other example. Alright, bring my YG07 again. Want her top to look dark. But I need to keep my shadows in there and then streak that down again. And it's okay, we're going to put a belt there too, so oops, don't put that one. YG03. And YG00 coming up. I'm going to add a bit of shading to her headband up here. I'm just going to add a backward C. YG07. YG03. And then YG00, which is upside down. There, just blend it a little bit better. So I kind of like my other girl better, but I got just an opposite ombre color, so I have two options at least then. I'm going to just do her boots, and then we're going to add some glitter or shimmer with our watercolors. That is optional, but she's just about done being colored, and I think my paddle's almost dry too by the look of it. So it'll be good, or at least it'll be close. What's the deal? So the boots, I just did C9, and they're so small you could just do one color even. C9's very juicy, so I've got to be really careful. C7. Could always add a little bit of teal in the middle if you wanted like a highlight. But I just made them black in this case. Now, the other reason I use a thick paper for coloring on is I like to add shimmer. And so I'm going to pull in, I know this is something you guys probably, oh thanks, I like the other one better, but I think it'll show my pattern better at the bottom here by doing the gradient the other way. I'm pulling in just some shimmer watercolors I have. You could always just use a gel pen or something else, but because I have this and it kind of matches our teal that we're using, I'm just going to pull in, actually I'm going to draw in my shapes first. So I'm going to take in my, this isn't on my list, but I am taking my BG49, and what do I want to do? I'm going to do diamonds again because they're easy. So I'm just drawing them in with the pen. You could always just do this too if you wanted. I'm going to draw in a little bit of a belt. Middle here, which again I am going to add my watercolor on top of. Oh, I just realized I missed his collar. Let's do it with the teal, do it with the watercolors. And she has an earring up here too. But by drawing it in, it just helps you see where you're going. And I'm just taking a water pen, and this is just sparkly watercolor. I'm just going to add that into my dress, to each diamond. If you just be careful you don't add too much water, then you can use watercolors over top of your Copics without it pilling. And I'm going to do her collar down here on the Chihuahua, and I'm going to draw in the leash with this too. Just going over the line where, as long as you feel, oops, made that a little dark. It's okay. Not a little dark, I meant a little bit blobby. Harder to do this on camera than doing it just slowly by myself, but I'm getting it done. And then her earring, just add a little bit of glitz around her earring. And I'm just going to draw in some dots. Okay, and then You do want to try and make sure your brush has got no watercolor in it after. I am going to put a little dot above each diamond here too. Maybe just put on her shoulder. Yeah, something like that. And there, it's hard to see. Maybe if I just tilt it, you can see that it's I mean, it's not capturing very well on the camera, but it's got a little bit of glitz, a little bit of sparkle. That'll go well with our teal that we used. Okay, I think we're just about, oh, I just realized I've got one thing with the Chihuahua. I need to do his nose. I'm just going to take my E15. And then I'm going to take a little white gel pen. Sorry, it's really... Okay, good. Thanks. Thanks, Jennifer. And then just dabbing in that. Oh, and one other thing I did on my sample was I did add a little bit of the shimmer in her eye as eyeshadow. A little bit of teal eyeshadow, because why not? Looks like a fashionista. Okay. Alright, so she's done. I've got two of her. I'm going to zoom back out, and that way we're going to put our card together. Sorry, don't mean to make you guys all sick. Tilt my camera back. Move it over. So let's see. Yep, it's dry. Okay. Oops, got some on the back. So you'll see now. Maybe if I tilt it, you'll see the sparkle in there. Yeah, I think you can. And that just makes it really sparkly, but we still get all the colors of our inks, which is cool. I've been hoping for something like that for a while. Because I'd rather use our inks whenever I can. Okay, I'm going to pull in my card. Oh, I need my Tranquil Teal panel too. Alright, so just make sure my card base is flipping open the right way, because I'm very bad at that. Thanks, girls. I'm going to glue this layer on to my card base. This side seems a little flatter. All these card bases are very straight. Oh, that's typical of me too. Also, it's a good idea when you're trying to put a dark piece of paper, when you're trying to line things up, put a white piece underneath. And it's probably going to be crooked, which is just, I'm considering my signature. That's not too bad for me. Alright, this now, we could either leave it like this, and just glue it in. And we're just lining everything up again, so if you want, you could always pull in, I'll pull in the template, just so you can see where it all lines up. And you just want to make sure when you're lining it up that you're lining it up straight, which will be the hard part for me. So what I'll probably do is I'll start with the bottom corner. Now the one thing you could do is, especially if you're worried that you didn't cut something very straight, is you could always add like a little layer of green here to match up with your layers. I think tonight I'll make it simple and not do that. Oh, sorry, I got a notice on my computer. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the bottom one. We're just about done, guys. not too bad. That's the fastest card I think I made on a live. I'm probably jinxing myself by saying that out loud. And then it's almost like you're doing a puzzle. So you're going to glue this one in next. And hopefully, doing this all right. This is the first time I've had plans to make this card a few times. I was going to make this type of card for our spring retreat, but powder paper just wasn't going to work with the spring retreat bundle I got. So okay, we're going to finally make this card. Okay, now let's hope I did the right. Oh, it looks like I did. Okay, good. Whew. So the one thing that again, I got this from Stampin' Up, totally, to be transparent. What they did was they added like another layer of cardstock here, and then they popped these panels up. But I'm going to make it simple tonight. And hopefully won't be a problem. I don't think it will be. Oh, looks okay to me. Okay, and then she'll go right here. And again, it almost looks like she's got a spotlight on her. And then I just got to figure out what sentiment I want to do. I also have to decide if I want to pop her up or just leave her. And I think I'm going to leave her flat. Let's just try and make this card flat tonight. And do the sentiment probably in the tranquil teal. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so I'm just going to pull in my stamp set and decide which stamp I want to use and where I want to put it. Sometimes I like, especially if there's one that's just so what we have You're Positively Awesome, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. When in Doubt, Shop is probably better for the other girl. It's a Dog's Life, or Woof, or Time for Some Retail Therapy. I think You're Positively Awesome, especially since we did the paw prints, would probably be best. Now I just gotta decide where to put it. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll put it over their legs and have the sentiment reading down there, or I would have her standing on the sentiment. Not going to do that, I don't think, for this one. I think I'm just going to make a little banner for up here. And that way she's kind of looking at it. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm just going to grab, I have some of that green cardstock left over. And do I want a banner, or do I want just, I think I'm just going to do a box. And make this simple. That way it's almost done. You do you, though. If you want something more fancy, you can. But I just have one more thing to do after I do the sentiments, and then this card's almost done. I'm just pulling out my stamp. For those, I think mostly the design team here tonight watching, but for those who maybe not joined one of my classes before, like I said, I stamp my silhouette, or I cut my images first and then stamp it with my silhouette, so I line it up nicely. So that's why that's in there. So I'm going to take my green paper here. Just realize how crooked I am. And let's try and make it straight enough. What I could do, since I used both the Incredible Indigo and Tranquil Teal, is I could do kind of an ombre look. So I'm going to start with my Tranquil Teal. We'll see what that looks like on the green. It's probably going to make it look a little bit more green. yeah. I'm gonna double stamp it. And then I think I'm just gonna probably do the Incredible Indigo. You could always decide you want one word to be a different color, so might be a little hard on this one, but maybe I'll try. I'm just gonna do the awesome and the Incredible Indigo and see what that looks like. Might get it on the P, but we'll see. Not too bad. It looks kind of black on the screen. Oh, no worries. Thank you, Danielle. Thanks for watching. And I'm just gonna pull in my trimmer. I'm just gonna make a box tonight. I'm gonna keep this simple. So we're almost done. Normally I pull out my dies, but since we don't all have the same dies, I'm trying to keep it as a card that anyone can make with what they have with their Kraftin Kimmie stuff. A little bit of that. There we go. I'm pulling my card, glue that down. I think what I want to do is, do I want it to go over top of, no, I want it to kind of go maybe a little bit over so that you can still see the exact spotlight. You could totally do like something round, would be really cool there, I guess. It almost look like a sun. Right. Just gonna move it over a bit. More of a corner person, like to put things in corners, but that looks okay, I think. All right, one last thing, just to decorate. I'm gonna just grab some wooden hearts. Maybe not that one, it's kind of big. This one and this one. And I'm just gonna grab my daubers. And add some green with the goblin green. And yes, you can ink with your Kraftin Kimmie inks onto wood. Make quick embellishments. So I'll do green, and maybe I'll do the blue, since I'm being lazy and that's the daubers I have out. What you could do is you could add your sparkle paste over top of these too. Make them look sparkly as well. Now normally I put it over there, but it's gonna have to go somewhere else. So maybe down here. Maybe we'll just do them in the corners. Here we go. To add quick, cheap, these are just from the dollar store. Cheap embellishments. Here. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm surprised I got this card done in an hour. But it's got lots of sparkle and kind of a different color combo, which is nice. And again, I'll just kind of show you in the light. Ooh, look at all the glitter. Sorry if it's... But now I have two. I can color, or I could do another card with the same image, but it's very easy to make this template. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just post, you know, it's kind of, like I said, didn't draw the lines very straight. Maybe I'll put this on the Kraftin Kimmie group so you guys can, anyone who wants to do it can see where the panel, or how to do that. Thanks everyone for joining me. And thanks for letting me reschedule, Kim. Hope everyone has a good night, and we're gonna have a release in a couple. No, we had a release. Sorry, we're gonna have a release recap this weekend coming up. So be some more classes for you guys, and I hope you'll learn some more stuff. Have a good night, everybody. Oops, up here.